Okay.
Okay, good evening. We're up to today's Daf Tzadik Zayin, and we're up to Tzadik Vav Amid Beis. And today we have a whole new discussion. We've been discussing, we digressed to discuss Sanhedrin and the nest that occurred over there. And today we're going to have a discussion exactly when Mashiach is going to come. I thought it appropriate to begin to share with exactly the sheet of Shmuel as quoted by the Rambam. It's machlok exactly what is Moshe Mashiach. So, how would he fit it in? Let's go with the shita. Now, it's not the shita of the Rambam; it's the shita that we saw earlier. That when people die, they go to the Olam HaNeshamos, and they stay there, and then the final state is Tchias HaMesim, what we call Olam Haba. Where does Yemos HaMashiach fit into that? So I think this will help us out a great deal. So I sent it out today, fellas. I sent it out. We're going to open. I'm going to open with the Rambam. This is the Rambam. It's in Malachim. The Rambam is in Malachim. It's in the 12th perik of Malachim. It's in Les Chelik. Okay. It says the Rambam. Al Yalo Alev, it should not enter your mind, Shabi Mosa Mashiach, Yivatel Dovam Minhaga Shaloilam. Don't think there's going to be something's going to change in the way the world works. Shum Chiddush b'Maaseh Bereishis. Don't think that there's going to be any real change. Don't think there's going to be any real change when Mashiach comes. The world is going to go according to the way the world always goes. It says in Yeshaya. What do that have? And the wolf will live with the sheep. V'nemer im gedi, and the leopard with the goat. The yarbits, right? They'll lie down. So you see that l'chayra is a change in the minhag of the world because you have a carnivore lying down with prey. It's mashal b'chida. It's a mashal. It's a mashal. It's not a reality. Inyan adava, what's the inyan? Yiyu Yisrael yoishrim levetach. Yisrael will live in tranquility. In Rashi Olam, but the Umas Olam, Hamishaylim b'ze'ev v'nemer, who we compare to a lion or a wolf or a leopard. In other words, we compare them to a wild animal. So when it says v'gor ze'evim keves, the Kal Yisrael that's compared to the keves, to the sheep, will live with these carnivores. Shneimar. And he brings another pasuk from Yirmiyahu. Ze'ev arvois yeshadadim nemer shoket al areihem. V'yachsu kulam l'das ha'emes, and everyone is going to go ahead and to know the truth. L'das emes, the truth. L'das means Judaism. They're all going to know the Rabbi Shalom. L'das emes, they're going to know the truth. V'yachsu kulam v'lo yigoizlu, no one's going to steal. V'lo yashchisu. They're going to eat something that's permitted. Benachas Yisrael. Shneimar va'aye. This is the end of the pasuk Yeshaya. Va'aye kebaka yochel teven. V'chein kol kiyetze be'elu advarim haksuvim ve'inyan Mashiach meshalom heim. All those psukim that are written b'mosam Mashiach that appear to be a shinui in teva, they're all meshalom. Right. B'mosam hamelach Mashiach yodea l'chol leize dava hayu mashal u'ma inyan remuzim behem. And Be'ez Hashem will find out b'mos HaMashiach exactly what the mashal was and where was the. Okay, that's the Rambam. He continues. Halacha beis. Omer Chachamim says the Chachamim. Ein bein ha'olam hazel b'mos HaMashiach. This is the Shmuel's lashon. We're going to see this in the Gemara. Ein bein ha'olam hazel b'mos HaMashiach el shiva malchuyos bilvad. The only difference that's going to be between our days and Yemos HaMashiach is oppression from the Malchuyas. Right now, we know there were 4 Shibudim in the world, and when the last one is Edom, and we're going through Golus Edom, that's going to end. The Shibud Malchus, that Basav Edom is going to be Mishabed Yisrael, is going to end. And Yira, Mipshuta Shal Divrei HaNeviim, It appears from the pashtus of the words in the Nevi'im. Shebetchilas Yemos HaMashiach. Again, the Rambam says it appears from the pashtus, from the literal meaning of the Nevi'im, because the Rambam is going to say we don't know what they're talking about. We don't know what they're talking about. We don't know. The Rambam, so the Rambam is going to say at the end we don't know. So he prefaces and goes, Yeru, it appears from the pashtus, because in the end you're going to see there is no pashtus. Yeru mi pashtus Nevi'im. Shebetchilas Yemos HaMashiach Tia Melchemes Gog uMagog. Okay, there's going to be the infamous Gog uMagog, a general Gog from a place called Magog, is going to come and do war in Eretz Yisrael. Ushekoidim Melchemes Gog uMagog, Yamud Navi Yisrael, a Navi will come up, Liyashe Yisrael, Ulahechem Libam, to go ahead and make Yisrael get on the up and up, straight. Shenemar, Hine Enochi Shalech Lachem, Es Eliyahu Navi. Behold, I'll send to you Eliyahu Navi. Ve'enaba, the Navi, this Navi is not coming. Loyla Tamei Atahar. He's not going to go with Tamei, those people who are Tamei, who are pure. Loyla Tara Tamei, nor to make pure those who are Tamei. Loy Livsul Anoshim Shein Becheses Kashrus. Nor will he go ahead and say this person who has good yichus is not so good. Loyla Hachshem Misha Huchse Psulin, and those that were machzik. That's not his job. That's not the job of this Navi. This job is one alone. Elolasum Shalom Ba'olam, to place Shalom in the world. Shenemar v'heishiv levavas albanim. Okay, nice song. V'yesh min hachachamim shoymrim shekoidim bias hamelech hamashiach yav Eliyahu. There are those who say before Melech HaMashiach is going to come, Eliyahu is going to come. V'chol elu, this is important. V'chol elu advorim v'chayetz b'hem la'yeda adam heich yiyu at sheyiyu. V'chol elu advorim kiyetz b'hem la'yeda adam heich yiyu at sheyiyu. No one's going to know what they are until they are. Until they come into being, we won't know what they are. Shedevarim stumim heim etzel neviim. These things are hidden, Eitzel Nevi'im. The Pesukim that speak about it, they're stum, they're sussum. They're not open. That's what he said me pshutan earlier. There's a tremendous machloikis regarding these things. V'al kolponim, says the Rambam, ein sidur havayis devarim elu v'loi diktukim ikka bedas. These things, what's going to be, is not a major part of Judaism. V'loi dikdukon, to go ahead and look into these matters, ikka bedas, it has nothing to do with, you're not going to be a better Jew at all. Ula'olam layasik adam b'divrei agadais. A person should not be oisik in these things. V'layarich b'divrei midrashais hamurim binyanim elu. You shouldn't spend a lot of time. Uchayotz behen. Layasimim ikka she'ein mevian. They don't bring loyli day. Let's get this up here. They don't bring none of these things. None of these things bring. She'ein mevian loyli day ava. They don't bring you to love Hashem anymore. Loyli day yira. They don't bring you to fear Hashem anymore. You shouldn't think about the kates when Mashiach is going to finally come. Amru Chachamim, Tafuach Daitan Shel Machshe Katesim, the das of Tafuach, the das of people who are looking into the kates. Eliyachke, hope, wait, v'yamin, and believe, b'chal adavar k'may shebarnu. So why do I bring this in, guys? Because today's whole Gemara is about the kates. Today's whole Gemara is about when Mashiach's coming. So I'm prepping you to Rambam that nothing we're going to say tonight is of any value. I mean, it's not really. I mean, it's psukim, it's in the Gemara, but it's not. It's nothing that is going to bring you to understand anything better. Nor will you have a better understanding. I mean, you'll have a nice night of Agadata as always, but you won't have any better understanding. Says the Rambam, and you won't be worse off. That's again, it's not going to bring to the Ava, it's not going to bring to Yira. You won't be any worse off than you were before the share. So with that Hakdama. In other words, I'm absolving myself of anything before. Okay, so with that, let's begin. Okay, so I'm 2 lines from the bottom on Sadik Vav and base. I'm a letter of Nachman Reb Yitzchak. Misha Milacha Emas Asi Bar Nafli. Is anyone going to tell me when Bar Nafli is going to come? So man Bar Nafli, who exactly is Bar Nafli? It's very interesting. So Amalei Mashiach says when Mashiach Bar Nafli correspond. By the way, the Ben Yoyada says that Ben Yishai and Bar Nafli have the same. 372, have the exact same gematria. So you know who that is? Let's see Rashi, the last Rashi on the page. Emasasi by Nafli. Why are we bringing this in now? I did aminan tzrora kesef lokach biyodoi shenesmaitu at tzadikim, that the tzadikim are becoming a few. Kamari hanami Mashiach By Mashiach, we say as well, most of Mashiach, the Ka'amri Talmidim Ismaitim, there'll be less Talmidim at the time Mashiach comes. Aminon, Vetihia Emes, Nadares, and the Emes is going to be missing from the world. I see Hoda who asked for the Shmei Kushta. In other words, you bring here, because Baruch Hu's name is Emes, so we bring this in over here. Mashiach by Nafti Korsley, Amlein, the Chsiv by Yomahu, Okim Esukas Hanafalis. That day is going to come. I'm going to bring down the sukkah that fell. Rashi says, Malchus David Shenafla, Lochi Kari Mashiach by Nafli. By Nafli refers to the sukkahs David that fell in, that Bez Hashem will come. Amalei, Hachi Amar. So, what's the answer? Does anyone know? So, Hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Dor She Ben David Babai, the door that Ben David's going to come. Talmidei Chachamim Mismatim, as Rashi just said, the Talmidei Chachamim will decrease. Vashar, and what about the rest of the people? Einayim Kolois B'Yoga and Vaynacha. Their eyes going to be worn out from all the sorrows that they experience. If it's sorrows, rabbis, gzeres, koshes, mischadosh, the terrible things decrees will be coming up all the time. Acha Rishona Pekuda, before the first one leaves, Shniya Mameres Labai, the second one's going to come. So this is a sign of Yemos HaMashiach. So another sign of Yemos HaMashiach, Tan Rabbanon, Shvua She Ben David Ba, the Shvua, the 7-year cycle. In other words, the Shemitah cycle, when David's going to come. Shana Rishona Miskayemes Mikrazeh. The first year of that cycle, we're going to have the following pasuk. Vim Tarti Al Irechad, I'm going to rain on one city, Val Irechad slay another city not. So another one city will have food, and the other one won't. Shnia, Chitzei Rav Mishtalchim. One city, I'm going to go ahead and arrows of what? Of Rav, and the other one not. Shlishis Rav Gadol. The third year there'll be a tremendous famine. Umesim Menashim V'taf. Men, women, and children will die. Chasidim Hashem Maisa. And indeed, Chasidim Hashem Maisa will also die. V'soyim Mishtakas Milumdecha. Torah will be forgotten, but people learn it. The Revius in the 4th year of the Shemitah cycle. Soiveya Veina Sova. There'll be enough food, but it won't sustain. The Chamishis Soiveya Gadol. There'll be a tremendous amount of food. People eat and drink, and they'll be very happy. The Torah is going to come back. B'shishis kolos, in the 6th year, there'll be what? There'll be kolos. There'll be kolos that Mashiach is coming. They'll be starting. People start speaking about it. Rashi says, Yotza kolos ben David ba lishnachrin is kolos mitkia shayfer shnimar yitapa b'shayfer gadol. Right? The B'yamayis Mashiach yitaka b'shayfer gadol. So Amar Rabbi Yosef and b'shviyas. Milchamos. And in the 7th year, there's going to be what? There's going to be this war between the nations and Yisrael. Pashtus of Gog and Magog. And b'moitzi Shvius, Ben David Ba, in the 8th year, then that's when Mashiach is going to come. Rabbi Yosef, Kamash Shvius haven't came. There's so many Shvius that have been so far, Mashiach didn't come yet. So Rabbi, B'shisha Koilos B'shvius Milchamos Mihave. Did we have already the 6-year koilos and the 7th year war? So in other words, you had many Shemitah cycles, but you didn't fulfill the 6th year and the 7th year. You didn't fulfill the koilos, you didn't fulfill the war. Did you have these events that we just referred to in the order? It has to be in that order that we just mentioned. The pasuk says, now there's a question whether this pasuk was stated at all. It says, Asher cherfu oivecha, Hashem, Asher cherfu ikvos mishichecha, right? I don't know what Rashi says. He doesn't know what it's doing here. Look at Rashi. Why is it written over here? The whole in other words, the Gemara doesn't explain it. Usually, when the Gemara brings a pasuk, especially some of these pasukim that are impossible to translate, the Gemara goes ahead and explains to us the mashal or what it means, the meaning of the pashtus, the meaning of it. Over here, it brings the pasuk without the meaning. So Rashi says Ken Zayin wasn't here at all. However, he does say that this venira lemoiri to my Rebbe, his Rebbe, Rashi's Rebbe, shkein nichta b'svarim tchila. It was written earlier. Kamosh sheninu perak achrin the saita. Beikvas the Mashiach chutz b'yaske chutz will increase. The kasu pirusha ze ala beikvas shehu lashon soif kamay asher chayfu akoris Mashiachecha. They just wanted to use this pasuk to explain the lashon of Akev that it means the end. Okay, so Tanya, it's a brisa. Rabbi Yehuda says, Dor she ben David ba, the generation when David is going to go ahead, what? The David will come. Beis Vad yel is nus. The Beis Vad, that place was Torah, that's going to use for nus. Va'gol Yechrav, and the north of Eretz Yisrael will be what? Yechrav destroyed. Va'gablin is another place, Yesham. It'll be desolate. V'anshe gvul yisoivavu me'ir le'ir. The people of the border, they'll wander from town to town. V'lo yichunena. The people won't go ahead be mechani. They won't go ahead and be gracious to them. The chachmas hasoifrim tisrach, and the chachma of the soifrim will go ahead and spoil. The yirei chet yemaisu. Those people who fear Hakadosh Baruch Hu, they'll be yemaisu. They'll be rejected. Upnei ador kipnei kelev, and the people in that generation will be like the face of a dog. The emes nederes, and the truth will be missing. There won't be truth. Shnemar v'tiyu emes nederes v'sar meira mishtoilel, and from them the raw will become foolish. That's all the pasuk. My what does it say v'tiyu emes nederes? What does it mean that the emes won't be there? Amid beirav b'lamed shenasis adorim v'alechasla. That truth will go ahead and become like a herd and they'll go away. My v'sar meirav mishtoilel. What does it mean that they'll be raw and they'll become foolish? So Amid Verev Shila, Kol Misha Sor Meira, Mishtol Al Brias. Anyone who turns away from Ra will be considered a fool. That's how the mercy of Mashiach. People will be such a low madrega that if you turn away from the wrong thing, they'll be consider you a fool. Amarava. Mereishav Amina, I used to say, Leka Kushta Alma. I said there's no one in this world who's truthful, meaning that only speaks the truth. So Amaliyahu Merabbanan said one of the Chachamim, the Rav Tavis Shema, his name was Rav Tavis. The Imri lay others say Rav Tavyumi Shmei, his name is Rav Tavyumi. The Havi Yov lay Kol Chalali the Alma. If you would have given me all the money in the world, all the riches in the world, lay Havi Mishanim B'Dibura, I wouldn't tell a lie. And he says this. Tells over the following story. Sim Nechada, one time Iklahu Asr came to a certain place. The Kushta Shmei. The name of the place was Kushta. Guys, Kushta is in the Aramaic for truth, right? Olam the Kushta. We speak about the Olam Emes. We say Olam the Kushta. Right. No one in this town would go ahead and tell a lie. No one died before their time. The Sive Issa Minhu, and he said, I married a woman from them. And he had two sons from this woman. Yumachad one day, his wife was sitting and she was inside, she was shampooing her hair. I see Shvivata Torpa Adasha, a neighbor came, knocked on the door, and asked about her. So Savalav Orach Ara. So he still think it's a nice thing to go ahead and say, my wife is going against shampooing her hair. So Amaloi said to the neighbor, she's not here. So no, he told a little fib. The two sons died. They said to him, they came to people in town and they said, hi. I guess people weren't dying, and all of a sudden you have two kids dying. It was a chiddush. He said exactly what happened. They told us of Tuvius, we beg you, leave. You don't go ahead and be metager. Don't go ahead and write up to incite death against people in this town. Tanya, Rabbi Nori Oimer, Dorshiba David. But again, the whole Gemara is about the Simono and David's going to come. And again, we have the Rambam to make it a little easier. Again, don't spend your time on this. Rabbi Nori Oimer, Dorshiba David Ba Naorim Yalbinu place the Canaan. Young people, they'll make fun of old people. Uzakanim Yabdul Fnei the Orim, and worse than that, the Zakanim will stand up for the young people. Ubas Kama Be'ima Kal B'Chamoisa, daughter will go rise up against the mother, a daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. Upnei Dog Kibnei Kelev, as we said earlier, the people who have the instance of a dog. Ve'ena ben Misvayis Miyav, and the son won't be embarrassed, won't be ashamed for his father. Tanya, Reb Nechemia Oimer, Dar Shaba David Ba, the dar that David's going to come. Azus Tirbe, you'll have tremendous azus, chutzpah. V'hai yoiker ya'aves, and yoiker is covered. Covered will go ahead and diminish. V'hagefen yitain perioi, the gefen will give its pre v'yayin b'yoiker, and the yayin will be what? Will be expensive. Now, how's it possible if the grape is giving its right? It'll be expensive. Look at the bottom Rashi on the right side. V'hagefen yitain perioi, v'afa pikein yayin b'yoiker. Yayin is going to be expensive. Shlayir bracha b'priatzma. You'll have a lot of grapes, but they won't go ahead and produce a lot of wine. Lishnachrina sheyukulon roitfin achayayin. Many people are going to be running after wine u'mishtakrin, and they'll be drunk. U'misyaker hayayin. As a result, af bishroy yayin boilam. In other words, well, no, here you have it's demand. You have the supply. You have you have the demand is very, very high. So therefore, and Malchus will go ahead and it'll turn to Minas. They'll go after Minas, after false things. And no one will be go ahead and give them Techacha. Messiah Rabbi Yitzchak to the right. Rabbi Yitzchak, Ein ben David ba ach tishapi kol malchus laminas. David's not going to come until the whole malchus went over to Minos. Amarava, my crow, the pasuk. Kula hafach lovan taharhu. When by Mitzvah fellas, that the entire body is what is turns to what to tzaras, then you'll be tahar. Rashi says, "Kula hafam lovan taharhu." Second line on the left side. Kisha poishet hanega b'chala or, when the nega goes ahead and spreads on the whole body. Kish kach kenepa kol malchus laminas tove geula. So what's the tushtal, guys? So just what's the tushtal to Ira? So just like when it goes ahead and spreads all over the individual, it spreads over the body. The person's tahar. So too, when mina spreads to Kal Yisrael, then the gula, like that's tahar, so the gula will come. Tanarabana. Ki yodin Hashem amoy, right? Hashem will judge his people. Ki yira, ki ozlas yad. He sees that the hand is going. The efes artzav ozim, no one's going ahead and being protected or being helped. Ein ben David ba at sheyirbu haMesiris. Ben David is not going to come until, like in the relation of Masa, guys, people give over to the government. That's what we're going to have. A lot of people being Masa, that's when David's going to come. Davracha. At sheyismatu at talmidim, when the talmidim become less. This is one of the reasons this Gemara is brought in over here. Says Rashi, sheyismatu at talmidim, shemachzikon yedei Yisrael lahachziron lemutav. They want their machzik Yisrael to return to good. So when they left in this matu, you don't have people to go ahead and bring them back to do the right thing. Davar acher, at shetichla pruta men hakis, until there be such poverty. Davar acher, at sheyoshum men hagula. Mashiach's not going to come until people go ahead and they give up. Shneimar ve'efes otzer va'azav. No one is being protected or helped. So efes, no one cares anymore. Rashi says, "Ein oizav ein samech liyisrael sheishvolim l'ma'oid." They'll be very downtrodden. V'ayme eich oizav v'samech she'im misyayishem en ha'geula. Okay. Kihod Reb Zera, you have him. Kaviyachal ain't samech loizer, right? Liyisrael. All right. We read Rashi too early. Kihod Reb Zera, ki having Mashkech Rabban and the Misaski Bay. Reb Zera found the Chachamim when they were learning, guys. What were they learning? Rashi, the Misaski Bay, Leida Mata Yavai. They're learning when Mashiach's coming. Amalahu, he said, "B'matusa be'einai minach." I beg you, right? La tirachkuhu. I beg you, don't go ahead and be merachik Mashiach from coming. The Tanya, sholish boyim behesach hadas. Three people come behesach hadas. Eluhain, Mashiach, Mitzia, Va'akrav. In other words, if you're going to be busy with the case of Mashiach, he's not going to come. If you're not busy with the case of Mashiach, right, he's Hadas, then he will come. Now, who are the three guys? Mashiach, Mitzia, Va'akrav. Says the Marsha, fellas, it's three of the same thing. If you're Zoicha, it'll be like when you find a Mitzia. You know that great feeling when you find something, right? It's returned to you. You find something. It was had a
reveal the case, right? So whenever if they would have revealed the case, then it would have prolonged the galus.
Right. Again, there's the reason why the case was not revealed was multiple reasons, but the one that I heard is all the neshamis that would have supposed to come down to this world would not come down to this world. That's the reason, because you have golden neshamis to come down. Anyway, so a person feels tremendous happiness, right? Yeah. Person finds tremendous happiness when they find a mitzvah. Conversely, if you're not zoicha, right, then it's like a sting of a scorpion, which I heard is very. I should never find out. It's very painful. Right? It's very painful. So it's two of the same things. So Rabbi Zera is saying, don't be busy with this. You know why? Since Mashiach's only come behesach hadas without you thinking about it, you being busy with this is not going to bring Mashiach any earlier. It stems very good with the Rambam, guys, right? It's not going to lead to Avo, it's not going to lead to Yira, Adarabba. Over here, you're being busy with it, it's going to be Merachik. You being busy with it is going to be Merachik. So Amar of Katina, Shis Alfei Shnei Havi Alma. The world's going to be what? 6,000 years. The world's going to exist 6,000 years. The Chad Choruf, and for 1,000 years, it's going to be empty. Guys, we had the Gemara earlier. The tzaddikim, they're going to be floating around like eagles, right? We saw during this 1,000 years. Shnema Niska Hashem Levada B'Yamahu. That day, and Hashem's the world who's going to see us 1,000 years. That day is Hashem's going to be alone. Rabbi Tina says 1,000 years. Abaye says the world's going to be for 2,000 years. It's going to be empty. Shnemar yichayenu miyamayim b'yoyim hashlishi yikimenu v'nichya lefanov. So the third day obviously is 2 days, and therefore it's 2,000. Tani kavasi dav katina, it's only 1,000. Kishem shashvius mishamesh shana achas l'sheva shanim. Just like Shemitah is 1 out of 7. Skach ha'olam mishamesh elav shana l'shivas alav mishana. So too, right? The 6,000 is going to be the 7,000 is going to be what? Is going to be 1,000 years rather than 2,000. Shnemar v'niskav Hashem levada b'yamahu. Hashem is going to be what? Alone that day. But and how know it's 1,000 years? V'omer mizbashel yom Shabbos yom shekul Shabbos v'omer ki elav shanim beinecha ki yom esmol ki yavar. Okay. Tana debei Eliyahu. They learned the yeshiva Rabbi Yohu. Sheish alaf mishana havi alma. The world's going to be what? For 6,000 years. Shnei alafim tahu. The first 2,000 years are going to be tahu. First 2,000 are going to be Shnei alafim Torah. The second 2,000 years are going to be Torah. Shnei alafim Yemos Mashiach, and the third 2,000 is going to be Yemos Mashiach. Now, l'chayra, so Mashiach is ready to come in the year 4,000, guys. 2,000 is tahu, 2,000 is Torah, and then we're going to supposed to be. So Mashiach could have come already from the year 4,000. Now the Rashi brings a whole cheshbon over here, a whole mathematical cheshbon of when Mashiach possibly could, how do you make the year? So the first year we should know. I'll do a little bit of it. When did the year 2000 begin of Torah? When Avram Avinu was 52 years old, and that was the time of Hanefesh Asher Asu B'Charan, where Avram Avinu was in Charan. He was teaching Torah to the people. So that's when Torah starts. That's when Torah starts in the year 2000. Now it extends to. They make the cheshbon. We want to get to the year Yemos Mashiach, right? We want to get to Yemos Mashiach. So he makes a cheshbon like this. We're now at the year 2000, and Avram is 48. When Avram had Yitzchak, he was 100. He was 2000. So that would be in the year 2048. He was 52 and 48 is 100 years old. Yitzchak, we know, gave birth to Yaakov when he was 60 in Toldos. And then he makes a cheshbon. We were in Mitzrayim. How old was Yaakov when he came down to Mitzrayim? He was 130. And we were in Mitzrayim 210 years. 480 years till the Beis Hamikdash was built. 410 it stood. 70 Galus Bubble. 420. And that's 1828. So if you go ahead and add, take 4,000 minus 1828, it's the year 3828. Or 172 is after the Churban. Right, 172. The year 4,000 of Torah of Yemos Mashiach is going to be 170 years after the Churban, 3828. To think about it, the Churban, it's so long already that Mashiach hasn't come. He could have come in that period of time. He could have come in that period of time, and he didn't come all those years. So those are. By the way, a very good Malcolm, guys, is the Ramban ala Torah. He makes a cheshbon between off the top of my head. He says the first 2,000 years were Tahu, the first 2,000 years were Tahu, and then the next 2,000 years was Torah. He mentions Avram Avinu at that time, and he correlates it to to the years of 6,000 years to the six days of Ma'aseh Bereishis. Day one was Or, if I remember correctly. Day one was Or. That what corresponds to that is Adam Rishon, who was Irish Shalom. Adam Rishon was Irish Shalom, right? And then the second day was Rakia. That corresponds to Noach, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mavdil between the Adam, Noach, and the people. Something like that. I didn't look it over again, but something like that. Okay. So therefore it could have come on the days, but I'm going to say no Shirabu because of our Averis, Yatsum Yehem Masha Yatsu. In other words, because of Averis, all these times could have been they are. Amal Eliyahu Rav Yehuda, Achud Rav Sila Chasida. Rabbi Eliyahu said to Rav Yehuda, the brother of Rav Salah, Eina Oilam Pachas Mishmoina v'Chamisha Yavlois. The world is going to exist for what? The world's going to exist for how many Yavlois? A total of less than 85. 85 times 50 will give you 4,250, guys. 4,250. Good. So 4,250 will be after the year 2000. Will be Yovel Achrein ben David Bod. The last Yovel is going to come. Amalei Rav Yehuda asked Eliyahu, he's going to come at the beginning, he'll come at the end, right? So come at the end, beginning, come at the end. He says, I don't know. He says, I don't know. which makes it difficult. The next question. So he says, if he doesn't know, he says, "Kala or ain't a kala?" Is it gonna? In other words, which cycle is going to come in, and is the cycle going to be finished or not? But if he tells you he doesn't know, what's the second question? Guys, you hear the second question seems to be redundant. If he doesn't know the answer to the first question, what's your second question? So I saw in the Oscar brought down the Dikdaki Seifrim says Mashiach will come at the end. In other words, he did answer the question. Which will he come in the beginning or the end? He said the end. And then he answered him, Kala like Kala. Amalei, any idea. So on this he said he says, I don't know. Rashi says, Ad hocha loy tistevei. Right? Says Rav Ashi. This is what Eliyahu answered of Yehuda. Ad hacha loy tistechei lei. Until then, until the year 4250, don't expect Mashiach to come. Mikan ve'elech istechei lei. From then on, you can expect him to come. Shalach le Rav Chanan b'tachlif le Rabbi Yosef. Matzasi adam echad. I found a person. Ubiyodei Megillah achas ksuva ashuris. It was written in Aksav ashuris. Ulashon kodesh was written in Lashon kodesh. And he brought it from, and it spoke about Moshe Mashiach. Amati I said, Zumin ayin lecha, where'd you get this? Amalei l'chayole shel Rome niskarti. I was hired by the soldiers of Rome, and I was there in Rome. When Ginsei Rome mitzasiyah, I found it among the Genazim of Rome. Because of Ba, and what's written in this? La'achar arbas alafim masayim v'tishim echad shanim l'briyas shalaylam. After 4,291 years. The Gemara says 230 years. The Gemara has a gersa. Right? That's the Ha'ilam Yitom, the world will end. Mehen Melchamas Taninim. There'll be Melchamas of the Taninim are the big fish. Mehen Melchamas Goygomagog and Samal die as a result of what Goygomagog. Ushayim Mas Mashiach, or the rest of the days will be Mos Mashiach. Vein Kodesh Baruch Hu Mechadish Salamai Elacha Shivas Olaf Shana. Kodesh Baruch Hu is not going to bring the world again till after 7,000 years. This is like Rav Katina, guys, who said 1,000 years. Not like Abaya. This is after 5,000 years. Tanya, Rav Nassan Omer. Mikra said Noiked v'yari at the home. This pasuk, Noiked makes holes and v'yari when it goes down at the home. Ki oid chazoin lamoyed v'yofeach laketz v'lo yichazev. Ki oid chazoin lamoyed. There's another vision for lamoyed for a certain time. V'yofeach laketz. It speaks about the end. V'lo yichazev, and it doesn't lie. Im yismamo, right? If it's delayed, wait for it. It's going to come. It won't be delayed. Okay, what does the pasuk say? It says that what the time of the Mashiach we don't know. It's not like Acham who make the following drasha, guys. Ad idon v'idonon uplag idon. Okay, now we know that we're supposed to be Mitzrayim 400 years, right? So idon is what is 400. And idonin is plural. So that's 400 and 400 is 800. So 800 and 400 is 1200. Uplag and half of 4 is 200, a total of 1400. So in other words, you can make a cheshbon. Don't make a cheshbon based upon 1400 years from what? From the end. Now this is, you make the two Goliaths that we have. The two Goliaths is 40 years, 400 years in Mitzrayim and 70 above, 470. 3 times 470 is 1410. Don't make cheshbonis of 1400. Don't make cheshbonis of 1410. V'lei Rabbi Akiva shayidayrish oid achas ma'ati. And now Mashiach can come right away. Marish esher shemayim v'es aretz. Right, guys. Rabbi Akiva held it's going to come early. He held Bakoch was Mashiach, guys. Guys, it's geschmack. Remember, he said, I told you, but he held Bar Kaziba, he held Bar Koch was Mashiach. He was the leader of that. So you see that, obviously, that was just after Churban Bayesheni, much earlier. So you see that the Gemara is telling us, not like this cheshbon of 1400, not like this cheshbon of 1410, and not like Rabbi Akiva was a much earlier cheshbon, right? Ella, what's the cheshbon? Malchus Rishon Shivim Shana, Malchus Shniach Hamishim Ushtayim. So the first one is 70, the second one is 52. Umalchus ben Koziva's name is 2.5. Again, this is the cheshbon Rashi makes. I'm not exactly privy to understand what he's talking about. But let's see. Let's take a whack at it.
This was not rebuilt. It's like it was carved. Obviously, it could have came after this. The business was.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know. Again, you don't can't make this cheshbon. The whole Gemara is going back and forth. We said the Rambam again, but what does he mean over here? Pashup Shad in the Malchus over here. Let's see the right side. We're taping this, David. You have to share. You have to share, okay? Okay, now it says Oid Achas Ma'adhi b'nevuas Chagei Zechariah. Ksiv Shahir Misnave Kashiyatsu Yisrael Migolas Bavel. V'yivna Bayis Hamigdash v'hainu Oid Achas Ma'ati Ma'at Kovid Etin Lem Yisrael. Give him a little bit more. Vani Marish Es Hashemayim v'Esa Aretz v'Vesi Kol Chemdas Goyim Li Yerushalayim. Rabbi Kiva Darish Le Yemos HaMashiach. Rabbi Kiva said that's speaking of Yemos HaMashiach. L'Acha Churban v'Achi Darish Le Oid Achas Ma'at. A little bit after the Churban. That's Bar Kaziba, guys, right? Oid Ma'at Kovid Etin Yisrael. V'Yachach Yavim Mashiach. The drashazu ein el kra alifnei abayis koyit. Rashi says it's going before the bias. V'achi kamar oid achas ma'ad hi ma'ad kovet etin lehem liyisrael v'shuv le'etin lechem kol yimos bias achrin. That's it. V'chein hoya. There was no more kovet. V'chein hoya the malchus b'shoyna shel malchus chashmonai the skayim shivim shana 70 years. Really was 103 years. The Avgav Damina b'sei doil and malchus b'sei chashmonai in May of Shalish was 103. Malchus heard this May of Shalish. In other words, he gives a different cheshbon. Ikka k'fayda mufaram shlei shalta ben uma lein skayim. In other words, this malchus is speaking about the time where you'll have a bit of a freedom, and that this 206 years, well, a little earlier. And afterwards there was no melech after this, right?
Because the second decision we were missing things, right? We were missing things.
Yeah, but this thing's missing. But again, it's talking about Yemos HaMashiach, not speaking about the second bias. We spoke about the second bias really not being anything like the first. Rashi says all of these are not Mishnah, not Brisa, guys. These are all very vague. What does it mean? You can't speak about the end and lo yichazi and doesn't lie. Amrav Shmuel Nachmeni Amrav Yonason Tipach Atzman Shel Machshavei Kitzin. The people who go ahead and think about the kates, they should go ahead, and they should not be in good shape. Shal Yoimrim Kevin Shegias a kates, since the kates came, v'lei ba and it didn't come. Shuvein ba, they'll say it won't come anymore. What should you do? Wait for it. Shenemar imismama. If it's delayed, chakaloi. Wait for it. Shema toimar onu machakem v'hueina machakem. Maybe you think you're waiting, but Hashem is not waiting. Talmud loymar ulechein yechaka Hashem lechanamchem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is waiting to be gracious to you. Ulechein yorim l'rachmechem. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu what? Therefore, he's exalted in his rachmanis. So he wants it and we want it. Says the Gemara, and since we're waiting, mi ma'akiv. So who's stopping it? Hashem wants, we want. Who's stopping it? Midas adin ma'akeves. It's the midas adin. V'chimiyachash midas adin ma'akeves onu loma machakim. You have the midas adin. So what hope do we have? In other words, if the midas adin is stopping it, guys, what hope do you have to get it? Says the Gemara, lekabel schar. Shnemar ashrei kol choyche loy. We know achakalei b'chol yam shalavai. One of the midas you're supposed to bring, the animamim, you're supposed to every day say that achakalei b'chol shalavai. So I heard a very, very nice teher, guys. As Sully mentioned, Sully Bornstein mentioned from the Shach. I had heard it from the Kotzkerov, but the application is geschmack as anything. We spoke out that there's three things that come behesach hadas, right? Three things: a mitzvah, the akrav, and Mashiach, quietly, hesach hadas. So it says, and what's stopping Mashiach from coming, fellas? Midas hadin. So what happens if the midas hadin? What happens with the midas hadin with no Mashiach's coming? It would stop it. You see, you can stop it, right? Our Gemara shows you that midas hadin has the capacity to stop Mashiach from coming. So how can Mashiach ever come? And the answer is Mashiach will come behesach hadas. What does hesach hadas mean? That the midas hadin is not going to know he's coming. The midas hadin is not going to know he's coming. How are we going to fool him? Geschmack is anything. Let's go back in time. Let's go to Lot. Lot has two daughters. Lot is with his two daughters, right? One is Ammon, one is Moab. If you're the midas hadin, what do you say about this union? Geschmack is anything. A guy's with his two daughters. This is great. What happens for one of those daughters? Let's say Yehuda is with Tamar. Yehuda is with Tamar. Kalasa, his daughter-in-law. What do we say about that? What does midas hadin say about that? It's geschmack. Who's born from that? Peretz. Peretz is one from that. Zerach and Peretz, right? Peretz is the forefather what of Boaz. Boaz. Moav is the forefather of Rus. Boaz and Rus come together. Very geschmack, right? Here you are. She's marrying a Moaviyah. He's dead the next morning. Unbelievable. What's Midas Adin saying? This is geschmack as anything. This is unbelievable. It's great. Look what's going on over here. Not knowing Midas Adin all along. What's the Kadosh Baruch Hu doing? He's Hesach Hadas. He's bringing about what? That you go ahead and bring the Mashiach into the world. So the Mashiach has to come the Hesach Hadas. And that's why we have Midas Adin on one side. The Hesach Hadas has to come the Hesach Hadas because or else he would stop it. Very good. Very good. It's geschmack. Again, the Kotzker Rav calls it Shoicha the Sutton. He goes going ahead and being Meshaki the Sutton. Rabbi says Abaya. Like Poches Alma Mitlasin B'Shishin Tzadikei the Mekable Ape Shchina B'Chaldara. Every generation you have what the 36 we know the 36 hidden tzaddikim. Shenemar Ashrei Kol Choichelei Choicheloi. Right. Fortunate are the ones who wait for him. Loi B'Gematria is Tulsa B'Shishim is 36. Ini is really so. Vamarava Dorish the Kame the Kuche Brichu Tamne Sari Alfei Havoi. The rows in front of Kodesh Baruch Hu of 18,000, not 36. Shenemar Soviv Shmoina Asar Aleph. He's surrounded by 18,000. So the Malakasha Hadim Istakli Bispakalia Hamira. They're those who see HaKadosh Baruch Hu through mamish clarity, total clarity, like Moshe Rabbeinu. Hadim Istakli Bispakalia Sheina Meira. So the many people that we mentioned, the 18,000 of them see Hashem, the 36 see Him clearly. Nafish Kulehai, there are so many who see Him so clearly. V'amachizki Amar Rav Yirmiyah Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Ra'isi b'nei Aliyah v'hem muatim. I see b'nei Aliyah and there are very few of them. And Melefheim ani b'nei Mohem. If they're what? If there are 1,000, then me and my son Elazar are among them. And Me'aheim ani b'nohem. If there are 100, I and my son are among them. And Shnayim heim ani b'nei. If there's only 2, it's me and my son. So how do you say 36? So I'm like Hasha. The Eile Babar, right? This is people who can go in with permission. The Ali Bar, and there's people of Shimon, they're able to go in mat without permission. Okay, we'll stop over here. Hey, David, what do you want to say?